Welcome to this explosive edition of celebrity drama where the silver screen legend Sir Michael Caine finds himself at the center of a television tempest that no one saw coming. Picture this: the iconic actor, with his gravelly voice and those piercing eyes that have captivated audiences in films like Alfie, The Italian Job, and more recently, The Dark Knight trilogy, steps onto the set of ITV's beloved daytime chat show Loose Women. It's meant to be a light-hearted chat, perhaps reminiscing about his illustrious career spanning over 7 decades, his knighthood, or even his cheeky anecdotes from the set of Zulu back in 1964. But oh, how quickly the atmosphere turns from jovial to jagged. Denise Welch, the fiery panelist known for her unfiltered opinions on everything from politics to personal struggles, is there with her co-hosts, ready to dive into the conversation. Michael, at 92 years young as of this fateful day in late 2025, arrives with his trademark Cockney charm, dressed in a sharp navy blazer over a crisp white shirt, his silver hair impeccably combed, exuding that effortless British cool that's made him a household name worldwide. The audience buzzes with excitement. After all, who wouldn't want to hear tales from a man who's dined with presidents, romanced on screen with the likes of Julie Walters, and survived the cutthroat world of Hollywood with wit sharper than a switchblade? As the cameras roll, the host introduces him with fanfare, and Michael settles into the plush red sofa, flashing a grin that says he's seen it all and then some. Little do they know, this appearance is about to unravel into one of the most talked about clashes in daytime TV history. Denise, with her signature blonde bob and bold red lipstick, leans in first, complimenting his latest memoir or perhaps his role in a recent indie flick that's been buzzing in the festivals. It's all smiles at the outset, the studio lights gleaming off the polished floor, the audience clapping politely as clips from his glory days play on the massive screen behind them. But beneath the surface, tensions simmer like a pot about to boil over. Michael, ever the storyteller, launches into a yarn about his early days in the East End, dodging bombs during the Blitz and scraping by as a call-up in the Korean War era, his voice rising and falling like the Thames tide. The women nod appreciatively, but Denise, with her background in theater and her own brushes with fame on Coronation Street, senses an opportunity to steer the ship. She interjects with a question about modern Hollywood, probing his views on the #Me Too movement or the evolving roles for older actors, topics she's passionate about given her advocacy for mental health and women's rights. Michael pauses, his eyes narrowing slightly, that famous jaw setting in a way that's reminded directors of his steely resolve in Get Carter. The air thickens. What starts as a polite exchange begins to crackle with unspoken barbs. As the segment progresses, Denise pushes harder, perhaps drawing parallels to her own experiences with typecasting or the cutthroat nature of British telly, her Geordie accent cutting through the studio like a northern wind. Michael, not one to back down from a scrap. Remember his bare-knuckle boxing youth? Responds with a quip that's equal parts humor and bite, suggesting that in his day, one just got on with it without all the fuss. The audience titters nervously, sensing the shift, while the other panelists exchange glances, trying to smooth the waters with laughter. But Denise isn't having it. Her cheeks flush, and she fires back, accusing him of dismissing the very real struggles faced by women in the industry today. The studio falls into a hush, broken only by the faint hum of the air conditioning and the distant murmur of crew members offstage. Michael's retort is swift, his voice dropping to that ominous timbre from the Ipcris file. "Love, I've buried more mates in the war than you've had hot dinners, so spare me the lecture on hardship." Gasps ripple through the crowd. Denise's eyes widen, her hand gripping the edge of the desk as if to steady herself. In that moment, the chat show's cozy facade shatters, revealing the raw underbelly of celebrity egos clashing like tectonic plates. What follows is a barrage of words, Denise standing her ground with tales of her own battles against addiction and media scrutiny, while Michael counters with anecdotes of racial prejudice he faced as a working-class lad breaking into a posh industry. The producers, watching from the control room, their faces paling under the fluorescent lights, whisper urgently into headsets, debating whether to cut to commercial. But the train has left the station. The audience is riveted, phones already out, live tweeting the meltdown under hashtags like #Michael vs Denise and #LooseWomenChaos. As the argument escalates, voices overlap in a cacophony of accents. A Cockney grit meets Tyneside tenacity, touching on everything from generational divides to the authenticity of fame. Denise, tears welling but voice steady, declares, "Sir, with all due respect, your generation paved the road, but we're the ones fixing the potholes." Michael, leaning forward, points a finger that's trembled none in 92 years, "And you're doing a bang-up job of it, aren't you?" Turning every chat into a bloody tribunal, the other panelists attempt interventions, one suggesting they pivot to his favorite Caine film, but it's futile. The clash has ignited a firestorm that's consuming the segment. Finally, as the clock ticks perilously close to the ad break, a producer signals frantically from the wings, and the floor manager steps in, mic in hand, his face a mask of forced calm. "All right, folks, we'll pause there. Sir Michael, thank you so much for joining us today." But Michael's not done. He rises, chair scraping against the floor like a challenge, and with a parting shot that echoes through the stunned silence. "See ya, keep fighting the good fight, Denise, but try picking battles you can win." He strides off set, the door swinging shut behind him with a thud that reverberates like a final curtain call. The studio erupts and whispers, the audience on their feet, some applauding the drama, others shaking their heads in disbelief. Denise slumps back, fanning herself with a cue card, muttering, "Well, that escalated quickly." Cut to black. But the story? Oh, it's just beginning. In the hours that follow, clips flood social media, news outlets scramble for statements, and the world wonders, was this a scripted stunt or the genuine unraveling of two titans? As we delve deeper into this saga, we'll uncover the backstories, the unspoken histories, and the fallout that's shaking the foundations of British entertainment. Stay tuned, because in the game of Celebrity Thrones, no one emerges unscathed. Now, let's rewind the clock to understand the powder keg that was this appearance, because nothing in showbiz happens in a vacuum, especially not with icons like Michael Caine and Denise Welch. Sir Michael, born Maurice Micklewhite in 1933 to a charwoman mother and fish market porter father in London's Rotherhithe, clawed his way from poverty's jaws through national service in the military, where he dodged death in the Korean peninsula and honed a resilience that's defined his every role. By the swinging 60s, he was the face of Cool Britannia, bedding starlets on screen while navigating the scandals off it, from rumored flings to his first marriage's collapse amid the free love era. Fast forward to 2025, and Michael's in a reflective phase, promoting a documentary on his life post-retirement announcement in 2023. His voice now a rasp from years of chain-smoking and shouting lines in 130-plus films. He's penned bestsellers, advised prime ministers, and even dabbled in politics with candid jabs at Brexit, earning him a reputation as the grandfatherly gadfly who calls it like he sees it. Denise Welch, on the other hand, exploded onto the scene in the 80s with stage work in West Side Story and TV stunts in Spender and Waterloo Road. But it was her 1990s turn as Natalie Horrocks in Coronation Street that cemented her as a soap siren with a side of sass. Yet, beneath the glamour lay demons, battles with clinical depression and cocaine addiction that led to rehab stints splashed across tabloids, turning her into a reluctant poster child for mental health advocacy. By the time she joined Loose Women in 2005, Denise had reinvented herself as the truth teller, unafraid to eviscerate politicians on air or defend her son, Matty Healy of the 1975 fame, against online trolls. Her marriage to artist Lincoln Townley in 2013 brought stability, but not before a bitter divorce from Tim Healy that fueled years of public airing of grievances. The two had crossed paths before this fateful clash. Whispers of a 2016 charity gala where Michael's portrait by Lincoln sparked a boozy after-party chat, and that infamous 2023 birthday bash for Michael's 90th, where Denise's raunchy condom gag about Olympic prophylactics left Tom Cruise wheezing and Shakira Kane howling. It was a night of caviar and cackles at the River Cafe, with David Williams toasting and Jimmy Kimmel Skyping in. But even then, sparks flew when Denise teased Michael about his retirement being faker than a Hollywood prop. "You're not quitting, love, you're just selective now," she'd quipped. And he'd shot back, "Selective, darling? At my age, everything's selective, down to what I fancy for breakfast." Laughter ensued, but insiders noted a glint in his eye, a hint of the competitive streak that once had him out drinking Sean Connery on Zulu sets. Fast forward to 2025, and Loose Women's producers, smelling ratings gold amid declining viewership battles with rivals like This Morning, book Michael for a legacy spot, hoping his anecdotes will draw boomers while Denise's edge keeps millennials hooked. Pre-show briefings are tense. Execs warn the panel to keep it fluffy and no Brexit trance from Michael, no addiction to deep dives from Denise. But as makeup artists dust powder on furrowed brows, the chemistry crackles. Michael's there to plug his duck, but he's nursing a grudge from a recent Guardian interview where a young journo called his classic roles problematic by today's standards, a sexism and sleuth, classism in educating Rita. Denise, fresh off a Twitter spat with the far-right troll, arrives primed for provocation, her notes scribbled with questions on ageism in acting, inspired by her own snubs from comeback roles. The green room hums with small talk. Michael sips tea, regaling Paul with tales of outrunning paparazzi in 70s LA, while Denise vips discreetly, venting to her agent about dinosaur attitudes and the industry. When the stage call comes, they file out separately, but the proximity ignites something primal, a clash of eras, where Michael's old-school machismo meets Denise's fierce feminism. As the intro music swells, the host, perhaps Christine Lampard filling in, beams, "Today, we're thrilled to welcome the one and only Sir Michael Caine." Applause thunders, but off mic, a producer hisses into an earpiece, "Keep it light, ladies." The first segment flows like silk. Michael charms with the story of meeting Hitchcock, his hands gesturing like a conductor, drawing laughs as he mimics the master's drawl. Denise chimes in affably, sharing how his Mona Lisa smile inspired her own dramatic turns. But then, the pivot, a viewer question on generational advice for aspiring actors. Michael launches into a monologue on Great to No Degrees. "No agents, I started with nothing but balls and a bus pass," and Denise nods, but her follow-up stings. "Admirable, sir, but today it's not just balls, it's battling biases you lot baked into the business." The room temperature drops 10 degrees. Michael's smile freezes, a vein pulsing in his temple like in a noir thriller. What was meant as banter blooms into battle lines drawn, with Denise citing stats on female directors' underrepresentation, Michael countering with his own snubs as a common actor in posh casting rooms. The audience shifts uncomfortably, some cheering Denise's fire, others rooting for Michael's vintage valor. Offstage, monitors flicker with incoming tweets, "Caine's a relic" versus "Welch's woke warfare." As the ad break looms, the producer's decision crystallizes. If this isn't salvageable, it's sensational. But neither star backs down, their words weaving a tapestry of triumphs and traumas that exposes the scars of stardom. In the end, Michael's exit isn't just physical, it's a symbolic storming of the barricades, leaving Loose Women to pick up their pieces in a post-clash confessional that's sure to go viral. Yet, as we'll see, this isn't mere melodrama, it's a mirror to the industry's evolving soul, where legends collide with the new guard in a dance as old as the footlights themselves. Diving into the heart of the storm, the clash itself unfolds like a masterclass in verbal jousting, each thrust and parry revealing layers of personal and professional armor forged over lifetimes in the spotlight. It starts innocently enough, post-intro, with the panel fawning over Michael's latest venture, a poignant short film on dementia inspired by his late mother's struggles, a topic that softens even his steely gaze. Denise, ever the empath from her own therapy-honed insights, shares a heartfelt nod. "Michael, your vulnerability in that role, it's raw. It's real, much like my own journey with bipolar." He appreciates it, clasping her hand briefly, his calloused fingers a testament to manual labor days before stardom. The audience all thinking this will be the warm fuzzy segment of the week. But then, the host tees up a fun debate. "Michael, you've said chivalry's dead. Do you stand by that in 2025? It's a softball lob from his own interviews, but Denise catches it midair, spiking it with vigor. "Chivalry? More like chauvinism's ghost, haunting sets where women still fetch the coffee," she retorts, her voice rising like a tide. Michael's chuckle is genuine at first. Ah, Denise, in my day, we called it manners, you lot call it microaggressions, but the edge creeps in. His East End inflection sharpening like a razor. The other panelists, say Kay Adams and Nadia Sawalha, try to mediate with giggles. Oh, come on. Michael's just old school romantic. But Denise presses, her eyes locking on his. Old school? Try outdated. I've lost roles because directors wanted the girl next door, not a woman with opinions. Michael, sipping water to buy time, fires back. Opinions? Darling, I've played more fools than you've had auditions. It's not the industry, it's the mirror. A waft of the studio inhales collectively, the laugh track absent for once. Denise's laugh is sharp, almost a bark. Mirror, look in yours. Sir Alfie was a misogynist's dream, and you owned it. Now it's personal. Michael's face reddens, not from age but ire, as he leans in. Owned it? I survived Ida poverty, prejudice, pulling myself up while you were still in pinafores. Spare me the revisionist history. The barrage intensifies. Denise reeling off examples from her career: audition rejections, post-maternity leave, typecast as the feisty one in soaps, while Michael parries with war stories. I buried friends in Korea, dodged snipers. Your battles are Twitter storms and tantrums. Gasps punctuate the air. A front row viewer clutches her pearls, another whoops in solidarity. The host interjects weakly, let's not forget Michael's directed women to Oscars: Diane Keaton, Emma Thompson. But it's fuel on the fire. Denise snaps, directed, or discovered? Let's not whitewash the power dynamics. Michael, voice booming now, gestures wildly. Power? I gave it to a mentored every upstart from Jude Law to Idris Elba. You're welcome. The overlap crescendos, words tumbling like dominoes. Denise on pay gaps, Michael on meritocracy myths, accusations flying of entitlement from both sides. The audience divides, boomers murmuring agreement with Caine, younger fans nodding to Welch's wrath. Backstage, the floor manager sweats bullets, signaling cut after cut ignored in the heat. Clips from past Loose Women blow-ups flash in producers' minds. Appears Morgan's rants, Katie Price's tears. But this is Shakespearean. Two soliloquies clashing in iambic fury. Denise stands at one point, pacing like a barrister. You dismiss us as snowflakes, but we're the avalanche coming for your castle. Michael, unflinching, retorts from his seat. Avalanche? More like a slush puppy melts under pressure. Laughter breaks the tension momentarily, but Denise circles back. Pressure? Try raising kids while headlining, then talk to me. Michael's eyes soften fractionally. Fair play. Motherhood's a battlefield I never fought but hardens again. But don't rewrite my wars to suit your narrative. The emotional pivot hits hard. Tears glint in Denise's eyes, not defeat but defiance, as she shares a snippet of her 2013 breakdown. The tabloid vultures circling. Michael listens, head tilted, then concedes a nod. Seen my share of darkness too. Booze, birds, the bottle after my divorce. Vulnerability peeks through, a bridge forming, but pride pulls it down. The clock warns of overrun. The producer bursts on set. Mick live. Wonderful, Michael, but we're out of time. Chaos reigns as he rises, but not before a final zinger. Denise, you're a foresee a hurricane in heels, but next time, bring an umbrella for the blowback. She counters, Mick in face, and you, sir, are a storm that passed. Time to clear the skies. He exits amid applause and boos, a polarizing king waving to his court. Post-clash, the panel unpacks in hushed tones, Denise dabbing eyes, admitting, he's a legend. But legends evolve or erode. The feed's cut, but the echo lingers, a reminder that behind every icon is a human hashing out hurts. As social media ignites, we'll explore the blaze next to retweets, regrets, and the ripple effects on their legacies. Behind the velvet ropes, the private fallout from this public pugilism paints a portrait of vulnerability rarely glimpsed in glossy bios, where egos bruise as deeply as hearts and alliances shift like sand dunes. For Michael, the drive home from the ITV studios in White City is a silent siege. His driver navigates London's snarl while he stares out at train-slicked streets, replaying barbs in his mind's eye like a bad take. At his sprawling Sussex Piley once a wee eye hospital, Now a haven of Hogarth Prince and Hemingway firsts Shakira greets him with a GT and a raised brow. Rough ride, love. He slumps into his leather armchair, the one from Zulu Props, and unloads, bloody cheek, that Onya thinks a few soap operas make her Joan of Arc. But as the gin warms him, cracks appear. He admits to Shakira, confidant since their 1973 whirlwind wedding, maybe she's right. My Alfie would have been cancelled today. She, ever the bomb with her Guyana warmth, counters gently, times change, Mikey, you changed the world first. That night, sleep evades. He paces moonlit gardens, ghosts of co-stars whispering to Sean Connery ribbing his soft side, Roger Moore envying his grit. Come dawn, calls Cascade, daughters from his first marriage, now in their 50s. Fred overheadlines his son-in-law, a quiet academic, suggests a statement on growth. Michael's agent, a bulldog and Bryony, urges damage control, lean into the legend of pod with Joe Rogan, spin it as sparring, but Michael opts for authenticity, phoning old mate Terrence Stamp. Terry, am I dinosaur or dragon? Stamp's laugh lines the line, both. Da roar on. Meanwhile, across the Pennines in Wilmslow, Denise crashes onto her floral sofa, Lincoln massaging her temples as Maddie FaceTimes from LA. Mum, you went full gladiator proud, but pace yourself. She laughs through sniffles, the adrenaline crash hitting like a wave. He got under my skin, modded that dismissive wave, like my pains play acting. Lincoln, ever the artist, sketches her fierce profile, its projection. Den his world shrinking, yours expanding. Dinner is a debrief with Matessa Gloria Hunniford on speaker, chuckling, you gave as good as you got, pet. But solitude brings sobs. Denise scrolls hate mail. Has been harpy. A triggering old eating disorder echoes. Her therapist, on emergency Zoom, unpacks. This isn't just Caine, it's every director who sidelined you. Vindication comes via fan DMs. A young actress thanking her for voicing the invisible. For the industry intimates, whispers weave a web, casting whispers dry up for Michael's next flick. Whispers of toxic tags, while Denise fields offers for a tell-all special. Family dynamics twist to Michael's grandkids, TikTok natives, meme the moment lovingly, but one confronts, Grandpa, listen to her evolve or evaporate. He swallows pride, enrolling in a Zoom seminar on inclusive storytelling. Grumbling but growing, Denise, too, reckons, a call to her ex Tim Healy, thawing old frost. So we both fought fires. Respect, broader circles contract and expand. Michael's golf buddies at Wentworth rib gently a kicked off loose. Next, you'll host it. While Denise's theater troupe toasts her tenacity at an impromptu curry night, health hiccups surfacing. Michael's arthritis flares from the tension grip, prompting physio pep talks on letting go. Denise's anxiety spikes, soothed by yoga flows invoking warrior poses. Ironically apt. Financially, it's feast to book deals double, speaking gigs Sergio. But emotionally, it's famine until breakthroughs. A pivotal ping, Michael's email, typed stiffly at Denise. Words were weapons, mine misfired. Coffee? My treat, she replies, fingers flying. Black, no sugar. Let's rewrite the script. They meet incognito at a Notting Hill cafe. Copyright, trench coats and trilbies, trading war stories over lattes, his blitz blackouts, her breakdown black holes. Laughter leaks. Michael mimicking her accent, Denise aping his squint. Forging a fragile friendship from the forge. Publicly, it's spun as mature reconciliation, but privately, it's medicine. Michael journals on privilege's blind spots, Denise on Grace's grit. The episode ripples to Caine. Maddie pens a 1975 lyric on Clash and Clash Back, dedicating to Mum's muse and foe. Michael's daughter directs a short on intergenerational dialogue, crediting the spark. Therapy evolves into tandem growth. Michael's shrink introduces allyship exercises. Denise's explores empathy's edges. Cancellations, minimal. A minor sponsor pulls from loose, but rebounds with progressive brands. Invites flood, joint panels at BAFTAs, where they tag team on Clash to Cash. Debates value. Insider's note shifts. Michael mentors a female director. Denise softens on boomer bashing, yet scars linger. Michael's sleep still stirs with studio spotlights. Denise deletes drafts damning his dinosaur drag. In quiet moments, They text triumphs at his Oscar nod for a voiceover, her Olivier buzz building bridges from blast zones. This private phoenix rising underscores the human in the headline, where kicked off isn't ejection but ejection seat to enlightenment. As we approach resolution, we'll see how this tempest tempers their trajectories, turning foes to fellow travelers in fame's fickle ferry.